Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be taking a look at Diablo Immortal's itemization, customization, the skills, basically everything with the game. Now I want to go ahead and start off the video by answering the question, what are the classes available? So first off, the classes that are available in the alpha, which we are going to be currently playing, are going to be the Demon Hunter, which you guys just saw. We have the Monk. We also have the Wizard. And lastly, we have the Barbarian. Now, all of these classes can be male or female, so none of them are gender locked. Let's go ahead and hop right into some gameplay. I'm going to go ahead and show you guys the Demon Hunter, and then we're going to go ahead and explain everything. So we're going to go ahead and hop into what is called an Elder Rift. Also want to quickly mention really quick at the start of the video, I will be playing this game with a controller. However, the game doesn't natively support a controller. So if you see some of these hotkeys over here, it's just so I know what buttons for myself to go ahead and push. It's just not in the actual game as of right now. So anyways, we're going to go ahead and do what is called an Elder Rift. I'm going to go ahead and add what is called a crest. So if you guys are familiar with rifts, this is kind of like the endgame system of Diablo 3. What an Elder Rift is a similar form of it. However, you can go ahead and add these things called crests. What crests will do is go ahead and make the map have a modifier. Now, not all of these modifiers are going to be negative. There are what are considered positive modifiers on it, but it's just random. You won't know what you get until you go ahead and hop right in. So let's go ahead and hop right into it. So I'm going to go ahead and add a crest over here. You can see that there are rare crests and there are legendary crests. Depending on what you put in, you're going to be actually able to go ahead and get more rewards. We're going to be talking about everything in this game. We're going to go ahead and go over microtransactions and all of the legendary itemizations and things like that. But we're going to go ahead and start first off with gameplay here. So don't worry, I'll explain what the heck these are and how you get more of these. Basically, there is a battle pass, but let's go ahead and hop right in. We're going to go ahead and add a rare crest. You'll see that the rewards do change over on the right, whether I add or remove a crest. Now you can put multiple crests onto a Elder Rift and get more modifiers, but I'm just going to go ahead and put in one because I only have one left. So we're going to go ahead and enter the Rift. Now the game does allow you to play with other players if you want to. However, we're just going to go ahead and rock this solo for now. So hopping right in, this is our Rift modifier. Again, we don't know what it's going to go ahead and be, but this is what it's going to go ahead and actually be for us. So we're going to go ahead and run straight to the elites, as that's kind of, I would say, more so the optimal way to go ahead and do rifts. Just similar to Diablo 3, the elites are definitely worth going ahead and eliminating. So we happen to have a lot of skills to mess around with. I'll go ahead and show you guys a few variety of them. Although generally with rifts, you don't want to be swapping in your skills, in and out while you're in the middle of trying to do this, because you are technically timed. Although we're going to have more than enough time for this over here. So go ahead and eliminate the enemies over here. And now let's go ahead and actually swap our skills. So I will also show you guys the itemization a little bit more in depth in a moment here, but the first thing I want to go ahead and show you guys is the skills that we have access to. I'm going to go ahead and swap this for crossbow shot for our basic attack, and then if I want to go ahead and swap in, let's say instead of knife trap, I want to go ahead and run one of the newer skills in Diablo Immortal, which is called the Daring Swing. I'm going to go ahead and equip this and show you guys what the heck it looks like, and you'll see how we can swap skills. So this is what Daring Swing looks like. It's a mobility skill for the Demon Hunter. It also does do a small amount of damage, but it's kind of used to go ahead and get away. It's our escape tool. Not so much for mobility really, other than to reposition, as it doesn't let us go very far. This is also our activation of strafe. Now I do happen to have a legendary that does completely change up how strafe works. So we'll go ahead and actually do this. And we'll go ahead and eliminate all of the elites over here. We'll set some sentries. And we can go ahead and, like, see, leap across. Maybe there's some explosion that was going to happen, and I can go ahead and avoid it. So you'll also see that there are going to be modifiers of enemy. That one happened to have like frozen. There are a lot of things that are similar to Diablo 3 in this game. And there are also newer like elite modifiers, like this laser. There's one that kind of just pushes you like a snowstorm. But there are other things that are similar and familiar, like Jailer is also something that did make a return to this game. But in terms of the game, like how is it? Like how is the game in terms of the smoothness? I'd say it's very responsive. It's very similar to Diablo 3. Here's a shrine. We'll go ahead and pick up the shrine as well, which will go ahead and just give us some extra movement speed. So if you play Diablo 3, this game will feel very familiar to you, and in fact, that's the best comparison of a game that I can give you guys. I mean, obviously it's still Diablo at the end of the day. But the terrain and the visuals on the game do definitely see some improvements, for sure. Like the terrain, I really like the look of the terrain. It definitely has a lot more grit to it. But in terms of some of the color palettes and in terms of the skills, a lot of it is from Diablo 3. So if you like Diablo 3, I would say overall you're probably going to really enjoy this game. Now there are other things to this game than just like Diablo 3 ported over to mobile. There's a lot more mechanics that I will go ahead and go over, but I wanted to start off the video by just kind of giving you guys how I feel about this game, as I'm generally not someone that plays mobile games, but I did enjoy myself playing this game for several hours yesterday because I'm a huge Diablo fan in general. So I'm going to check out anything with Diablo on it as a content creator over here. Now we also do happen to have a ultimate ability. However, that one does take a bunch of time to build up. You'll see over on our basic skill there is this little bar that is kind of building up, and that one we might not be able to show off here, but basically what happens is every basic attack is a multi-shot. So there's a situation where, like, if I needed to use my mobility, I'd be able to go ahead and use it to get out. But generally I'd say I really don't run that because I just tank the damage if I really need to. It's okay, because for me the game is relatively easy, but I've been playing action RPGs for quite some time, and we're relatively early on in the game, and it's only alpha. We can only get so far in the game. Max level right now currently is 45, and we are 37 right here in the gameplay. So I'm gonna go ahead and pick up these runes. So runes in this game aren't going to be doing rune words as far as I can tell right now, but keep in mind things could potentially change in the future. But what we can use them for is actually crafting legendary gems. So now that you guys have seen some brief little gameplay of the Elder Rift, I want to go and show you guys the itemization as well as other things in the game, talk about the microtransactions and my impressions of the game day one. So let's go ahead and get started. So first off, in terms of the itemization, let me go and show you guys what that kind of looks like over here. So let me go ahead and open up the skills. So let's go and do this real quick. So you can swap your skills out, by just going ahead and selecting like equip. Now, there is only 2 primary skills for the characters, and there are several skills for the class as well that you unlock as you progress. Now, you'll also see this thing that says rank 8. As you play the game and you level up, you'll get more ranks in your skills as you get further down the line in the game. You don't have to like put skill points into it. You just kind of get these as you, again, just progress in the game as your level increases. Now, in terms of the itemization, let's go ahead and go over that really quick. So we happen to have 1 amulet. We got 2 rings. We got a glove, or like hand section, and then we also have a waist. This happens to have sockets in it. I believe you can have up to 3 sockets in the left side of the gear, and on the right side of the gear you'll only have 1 socket, but those will hold legendary gems. So you can have up to 18 regular gems and 6 legendary gems in the game, but you can see what the gems do. I'm running Tourmaline over here. Now, one thing that's different with this game in terms of the sockets is a socket doesn't mean you can throw whatever you want in it on the left side. What it means is that whatever color the socket is, you will be able to go ahead and slot in a gem of that color. So, for example, if I wanted to put this in, I would have to find something that has a specific socket that is a same colored socket. And you can also see the attributes and what those do. I can show you guys what the attributes do. So normally in Diablo, I'll use Diablo 3 as an example here because it's very similar to it. We have strength, intelligence. Normally you'd have dex and then vitality, but now instead of dex we have fortitude. So fortitude, what it does, it increases our armor, and then also our armor penetration. Intelligence increases our offensive rating. It's kind of vague on what it does in terms of like the tooltip, but you can actually go into the skills, and all the numbers that are in green are something that can be modified essentially, and I'll show you guys what I mean by that in a second. But you can see what strength does. That increases our flat damage. Normally you think, oh, on like a demon hunter you want dex, but dex is not even in there as far as in attributes. But you can see kind of a little tooltip over here. You can see your crit and all of that stuff. So there is a decent amount of stuff via the stat sheet, but For those of you guys who play Diablo 3, the stat sheet doesn't always show everything perfectly because we might have some modifiers that will increase the damage of one said skill. For example, over here, if I'm to go to my skills and I go ahead and open up, let's say, my knife trap, this makes it so we place a knife trap on the ground. And if I scroll down over here, you can see that knife trap, at the very bottom, the trap damage is increased by 10% from chest. And what that means is it does show the modifier on the damage over there via our inventory. We happen to have a legendary that has a bonus on the legendary ability. This is our chest piece that says knife trap damage is increased by 10%. Right now it says skill not equipped because we don't have it equipped. So it does basically tell you what you should probably equip if you are running this. Now I'm just running this because the legendary stats are just a little bit higher than what I currently have. But that small 10% damage increase would be the legendary ability, which can be further increased as the number is in green. So most of the numbers in green can be changed. Now, in terms of the legendaries and to give them some feedback, I feel like when I got a legendary drop, I was super excited. I'm like, what is this? This was actually one of my first legendaries that I got. And I saw that it was a 10% damage on just one skill. It felt a little bit underwhelming. To give them some constructive criticism, I think that the number needs to be a lot higher. Now, in Diablo 3, the numbers were basically huge. Like, you would get something where it had like 300 to 500%, and then that would be the only skill that you used. I'm not saying that every single item needs to have a huge multiplier, but at least make a legendary feel like, wow, this is awesome, this is a build changing. Something that I would consider to be a little bit more interesting instead of it just being flat damage would be like it costs 10% of your maximum health on use. Therefore, I could think about, oh wow, I could just scale my health and have this ability do a massive amount of damage, right? There's just a lot of uniques or legendaries in this game where I feel like they could have added a little bit more potential for completely new builds versus just a flat number change. Now, there is stuff with game-changing things over here. For example, the Black Talon, which I have with the legendary, has Shoot 'em Up Inscription, which makes so Strafe now continuously fires piercing bolts in a direction. Normally, Strafe is a completely different skill. This completely changes the skill, so it's an ability where it just fires in a direction versus like a spinning attack. So I like this. This is a really cool modifier. Now, the other modifier we have is also for Strafe, which makes it so it launches homing rockets, which will go ahead and deal more damage to a nearby enemy. If you've played Diablo 3, it's basically like the rune where it's the fire rune and you just got a little homing rocket. So it's similar to some modifier in terms of like a rune, which at the end of the day still increases damage and it's a little bit more interesting than just flat damage increase. But I like the idea of completely changing a skill like with Shoot 'em Up Inscription. So I really like this concept. And you also see that we have a socket which has a legendary gem, which we'll get into in a moment because that's also part of our itemization. But in terms of the items, I'll go ahead and kind of click on some of the stuff so you guys can go ahead and see them. So you'll see that we'll have like increased attributes and then there's upgrades. You can actually get any of your items and start upgrading them, which will go ahead and increase the stats. And we can see where it's upgrades. I have extra strength and vitality on this as I have used my crafting material, just like you would salvage material. In fact, we can go ahead and do this and I'll go and show you guys the map as well. So opening up the map, you guys can go ahead and see the entire map of the game over here. You can see the different, you know what, let's go ahead and swap to Shasharsi. We're going to go ahead and go to a completely different, I want to kind of call these acts, technically these aren't, they don't specify these being as other acts, but I want to go ahead and show you guys the other areas in this game as they look completely different. Now, in this video, just to keep it condensed, I'm not going to go ahead and show you guys like the campaign, the story, and the missions, as they do happen to have some narration and there's cool boss fights. This is more just kind of like a general video, but if you guys are new here and you do want to see a lot more stuff on Diablo Immortal, as I do plan to cover everything in this game, as I'm just a huge Diablo fan, whether it's a mobile game or not, I love Diablo. So if you are new here and do want to see more stuff, definitely hit subscribe and turn on that bell and you'll see more very soon. But I'm just going to go ahead and show you guys a different act, and I'm also going to show you guys the Blacksmith over here. So if I talk to the Blacksmith, you'll see that if I go to services, I can go ahead and like disenchant all of my gear. You'll also see in a very simple manner, you can go ahead and let's say I equip this. If something is better, I will go ahead and be able to go ahead and let's say equip the item to go ahead and make it, min-maxing over here. So that would be one easy way where I can go ahead and see if the item's better. But if I want to go ahead and, like, let's say salvage all these because these aren't as good as what I have, I'm going to go ahead and salvage it, then I'll get some crafting material. And if I want to go ahead and upgrade, I can go ahead and go right into upgrade. And I can go ahead and upgrade an item, and then I'll go ahead and tell you exactly what it gives you and the cost of it. Now, when you upgrade an item to rank 5, you'll basically get another line of stats. So instead of vitality and fortitude, it might have intelligence, it might have strength. You'll get another roll on the actual item, which is quite nice.
Back to work then.
Now, I did mention that there are legendary gems as well, so I'm going to go ahead and show you guys where that is. That's for the chat. We don't need that. That's to go ahead and select. Oh, if you guys want to see any of the interface options and stuff, I'm just going to go ahead and show you guys kind of like the general settings over here that you can change. We are running this on Ultra. I don't even think this high FPS option is available for anyone, but that is the options, and you can see all of like the chat and stuff, and then there's just notifications. But going back into the waypoint system over here, you don't actually have to go to a waypoint to basically use it. I'm going to go ahead and go back to the West March, just because there is over here a area that we can go to. Now, I'm going to click on this, so we can go ahead and teleport, and you'll see the legendary gems is what I want to go ahead and show off now. And then we'll also dip into the microtransactions. I plan to cover everything in this video, so bear with me as this is going to be a little bit lengthy of a video. But, oops, going right over here. And the game doesn't natively support controllers, but I'm going to go ahead. Actually go right over to where the gem lady is, and I'm going to go ahead and navigate to it. Now, this game does have auto navigate to like an NPC, but as far as I'm aware of, the game does not have autoplay, meaning the game, like, it doesn't just like play for you like some mobile games do. But we'll go ahead and go to the jeweler, and we'll go ahead and show you the customization with the jewels. So I already showed you guys the gems over here that just can be upgraded. If I want to go ahead and upgrade the gem, I can go ahead and hit upgrade, and it'll tell you, you know, you can use multiple of like a lower quality gem to go ahead and upgrade the gem. So that's how that gem upgrade system works. And then for the legendary gems, to upgrade them, you actually have to find multiple copies of the same gem. Now in Diablo 3, how you would acquire gems is just do greater rifts, and you would get guaranteed one every single time, right? This game, they're actually quite rare. You're going to actually use these things called crests. You can get legendary crests that will guarantee you a drop of something. But this is Lightning Core, so all of them will say gain % of socketed items base attribute. That number can fluctuate as it is a number in green. It also happens to have a special ability where our attacks have a 10% chance to call Chain Lightning, but as we upgrade it, you'll see at rank 6, which would be similar to most of them at like rank 25 in Diablo 3, you get some other bonus. This makes it so it increases all damage you deal by 2% for 6 seconds after you call Chain Lightning. Even though a lot of these numbers are a lot smaller, keep in mind you can have 6 legendary gems as opposed to 3 in Diablo 3. Technically, you can run 4 if you run the socketed helm and you throw the like anniversary gem in, but you know that's really not too used other than during the time that it had a bug with it. But anyways, next up, this is another legendary gem, but some of them are similar to ones we've seen in Diablo 3, like the Seperate Fang, allows us to go ahead and have basically Bane of the Shriken, so each time that you deal damage to the enemy, it's going to stack up to 10 times of a 1.8% multiplier, which can go up, again, as you upgrade the gem, as you'll be able to upgrade your gems as well. Now, you can also craft these legendary gems. They take a long time, by the way, to craft. These are what runes are for. So, like, right now we have, like, of this rune over here, which is called Ati. We need 600 to go ahead and craft it, and we also need to have another rune, which is Dro. We have 30 of these, so it costs a lot. It also costs another crafting material, which we don't have. Yeah, these are the legendary gems, and I do plan to make a video going over all of them. So again, if you're new here and you do want to see that, I plan to make that video very soon, and I'll go over the best gems for whatever build that you guys are going to be looking for, because this is a question that I had asked quite often, which is what are legendary gems and what are the best ones. I'm going to reserve that for another video, so this video doesn't become like 1 hour long. Now that we've gone over the itemization, for the most part, a brief overview, right? I don't want to make this video, again, too long, but I also want to go ahead and show off other mechanics of the game. But speaking of the itemization, one question that I had gotten asked quite often, which was the microtransactions, how are they on this? It's kind of limited to what we can access here, but there's a lot of rewards that you'll acquire through the battle pass, as well as the dailies. Like in lots of mobile games, they'll have these daily quests that you guys can go ahead and complete. There's also this bounty board, which I'm going to actually auto navigate towards so I can show you guys. But if you guys have done bounties before in Diablo 3, it's a little bit different. For the most part, it's go over here, kill X amount of these monsters. Sometimes you will have to pick up like the fur of this enemy. Collect a certain amount. It's usually like 15, and then you'll be done with it. They're relatively quick, but I want to show you guys this other mechanic for the game as well. So we'll go to the bounty board. You'll see that there are multiple bounties that we can accept, and it's like kill X amount of these, kill these, and collect whatever from these. There are lots of cool bosses that you can do. I'm not going to show them off in this video because, again, we'll have to get to the boss, and then we'll have to make the video a lot longer. And I will plan to show you guys all the bosses and everything. It's just, again, I'm trying to give you guys like a general overview of the game here. But I want to show off the battle pass over here because this is actually pretty something important. So going over the battle pass over here. Now you'll be able to get a free battle pass, and you can see all of the rewards here. If you're wondering how far does the battle pass go, at the moment it shows up to 40. There are also placeholders for other items, which I don't know. You can also get your legendary gems via doing this. And remember, you're going to be acquiring multiple copies of the same gem to go ahead and upgrade it. Now, at tier 10, we will be getting a guaranteed legendary, which I already actually opened up, which was one of the legendaries that we had equipped. However, there are placeholders for this game. Now, is the game pay to win? As far as right now, it's an alpha. It's too hard to say because there's a lot of question mark items. However, getting certain items that are going to be the crests to go and throw in that will guarantee certain items could be a pretty big deal. Like for example, this legendary crest over here says use it when opening up a Elder Rift to add 2 modifiers, and it says completing the Elder Rift grants fading embers to all party members and guarantees you a legendary gem and 3 runes. A lot of the things I've noticed on the battle pass are basically the same thing that you get with the paid battle pass. How many more you're gonna get, I don't know, because this one like specifically gives you a couple gems of your choice, which is good, but I don't know if this one gives you more. If you click on it, it just says it's not available during the alpha. How much is the battle pass? I'm not sure. But my guess is anywhere from like 10 to 20 bucks. Again, I don't know for sure, but that's generally what battle passes are in majority of games. Now, as far as can you earn the battle pass again, I don't know. Again, anything that you click on, it just says that sorry, not available during the alpha if you try to click on anything. So in terms of microtransactions, a lot of the stuff is the same that you would be getting in the free battle pass. Is probably just that you get potentially more or double. Like for example, you can see this says 150 honor, which is another form of currency that you can use to purchase the crests, reforged stones, and gems and more. So you'll be able to go ahead and modify your items and getting more currency, so to speak, in the game. So that's, in terms of microtransactions, that's what we can see as of right now. But now that we've shown off most of the stuff that I wanted to show off while like basically playing the game live, I'm going to go ahead and actually show off some other gameplay of what is called the Challenge Rift. So let me go ahead and show you guys some Challenge Rift gameplay, and then I want to go ahead and answer a bunch of the questions rapid fire really fast over here. So going over the other parts of this game, like I said, I'm going to play some of. This is a different type of rift. These are called challenge rifts. They're very similar though. But going over a bunch of things rapid fire. First off, in terms of the gameplay, I personally did enjoy the gameplay quite a lot. It feels very similar to Diablo 3, which I did enjoy. And on top of that, in terms of cooldown in the game, that's what everything is going to be relied on. There isn't any resource to manage, at least as of right now. I say as of right now because when you use some skills that are on cooldown, it says I don't have enough hatred. So I don't know if that's going to be a mechanic that they add later down the line or what their plans are for that. But in terms of right now, it's just all cooldown basically. However, Strafe is a little bit different. It has its own kind of resource that kind of charges up, but it's basically cooldown. And as far as the game goes, I want to go ahead and mention, I'm not a mobile gamer. This is my personal perspective on the game as someone that does create a lot of action RPG content for Diablo 2 and Diablo 3. I generally like to make some of the top tier build guides for some of the builds that can push for the highest grade rift. So I do like to min-max in my game. And in terms of this game, the min-maxing in terms of the numbers seem relatively small, but obviously, you know, we're only in the alpha. It's kind of hard to determine some of the min-maxing abilities in the game. It definitely seems like it's oriented more for a casual player, but there is a system with the Paragon system that's going to allow you to basically choose how you want to build your character, kind of like a own skill tree. I'm going to reserve that for a separate video, as we'll have to go ahead and get max level and start grinding the Paragons. As far as I'm aware of, you can reach up to Paragon 400 as of right now, but obviously things can change as this is currently still in the alpha state. I also like my games to be kind of challenging. Like, I've played Path of Exile, I've killed Cyrus, and I actually play a lot of action RPGs. You know, Torchlight 3, Wolsten, I've completed all of those. I've completed all the Diablo games, played lots of Diablo mods like the Hell for Diablo 1, Median Exile. Like, I've played a lot of action RPGs, and in terms of this game, I wanted to go ahead and kind of answer a question that some of you guys might have had, which is, you know, what does this game offer that's new? In terms of the Elder Rifts, which I showed you guys, it has like a modifier. That's something that has been seen in a lot of action RPGs, and I would really like to see something completely different with the action RPG genre. It seems like bounties, it's just go over here, do this, and then like you have the Rift system, which we've already seen in Diablo, but there is that Rift modifier, so there is maybe some room for really interesting ideas. But like I mentioned before with a lot of the legendaries, and I like the idea with one of the legendaries that we had that completely changed up her skill. I would like to see more of that. Would love to see the ability to go ahead and maybe select even skills from another class like we had access to in Diablo 2. We were able to go ahead and use skills from another class via like a very specific legendary item. I think that would be a really cool thing to have in the future as well. But again, maybe it does exist in the game, I just haven't gotten any. But in terms of the gameplay and the boss design, some of the boss mechanics, like this is Shan Shaper, which is similar to the Zoltan Cool in Diablo 3. You can see that they have different skill sets, which is cool, and it seems like it's very interactive. Like, you have to dodge certain things, otherwise you might be taking a massive amount of damage. So I feel like the game definitely feels a little bit more interactive than Diablo 3, like, or just action RPGs in general. Like, there's usually like big circle, don't stand in it. But in this game, there's a lot of if you guys have played Toho, which is, if you guys have played like a Raiden, it's basically any like airplane shooter game where there's just a lot of projectiles on the screen, you have to dodge them. I feel like there's a little bit more of that in this game, which I actually like it because it makes you actually need to like dodge and move versus giant big circle, don't stand here. And this one makes you kind of basically move back and forth. One thing that would make the game very challenging, potentially setting up, you know, unblockable scenarios, though, is having two bosses, which you'd have to dodge multiple different things. And I think that that could be a very interesting modifier if they make it so like there's double Rift Guardians. That can make things very, very challenging. So I do like my game to be a little bit more challenging. In terms of the game, I've played for several hours. I died once in like 6 or 7 hours of gameplay, and the time I died, I was just running to find elites to go ahead and progress, and I just basically got body blocked by a bunch of monsters, and I couldn't kill them fast enough. And in terms of the potion, mechanic of the potion, you don't have to buy potions. This is a question I did get asked. You just refill it over just killing enemies. You can, at least, unless there's a legendary potion that's different, you just have 3 of them. That's the max amount, and you can just go ahead and pop them at your disposal. It does have an internal cooldown. I believe you can change the cooldown of your potion via some other I think it's either a legendary gem or a legendary, so there is some room for that. There's also health globes, those are also making return. There's also shrines in the game. There are a few newer mechanics, like there's a cooldown globe that you can also grab that resets our cooldowns, which is actually excellent. But there are some newer things here. It's not just Diablo 3 mobile. It almost feels like Diablo 3's expansion pack that never came out, which for me, as a Diablo 3 content creator, I love, and I thought it was a really cool idea. I would love to see this game actually get a PC port. I think a lot of people would honestly enjoy the game if they tried it out on PC as well, if they just like had a PC version of this game. Like, you know, some mobile games, like for example Genshin Impact, they had a PC version of the game, and I think that this game would be successful. It really would. I think some people, you know, aren't too interested in mobile games at the end of the day, but I think that there is some fun to be had for sure with this game. And this is coming from someone that really likes PC, you know, action RPGs. I generally just don't really like mobile games because my hands get cramped. But like I said, that's why I'm playing with a controller. With the game, and it's okay to play with the controller. I'm not a fan of touchscreen in general, but you can move around some of the skills. But the game has really awesome aim assist, as in, like, if you need to aim a skill, it'll basically target something for you. 99% of the time it targets what's correct, but if you do need to aim, that is available for you. The game isn't complex or hard to understand. Like if this is your first action RPG, because I had a couple people ask, I haven't played Diablo before, is it too hard? No, this game is very easy to learn. A lot of the times when it comes to equipping an item, it is like green arrow, equip, and you're good to go, and then you start upgrading your stuff. It's a very casual, friendly game. I personally like my game to have a lot more depth and complexity, but it doesn't mean I can't have fun with a game that doesn't have any of those things, because I did enjoy Diablo 3, and I do enjoy games that are complex, like Path of Exile, which, sometimes certain games scare people when they see a giant skill tree and they're just overwhelmed with the content. But moving on to legendaries and their drop rate, they're very, very rare in this game. It's not D3 where they just kind of rain down from the sky when you go ahead and kill like a Rift Guardian at the very end. It takes some time to go ahead and grind, to go ahead and remember when showing off how many of those runes that you needed, where it's a few hundred and we're only a few in. But again, maybe as you progress in the game, you'll get more legendary drops again. Keep in mind, we can't reach max level in this game as of right now. But I would really like to see more build-defining items where it would cost, like, health, or your cooldowns are doubled, but you do massive amounts of extra damage, and you can mix them for more creative builds, so to speak, versus just, oh, this does more damage. So I would really like to see more of that kind of things in the game. And in terms of trying to give the game some criticism, there's a lot of times in this game where I felt like there was like audio, like I really wish there was some music in the background, and sometimes maybe it just played out, maybe there's placeholders for music that hasn't been finished yet, because keep in mind this game is an alpha. But in terms of the game, I feel like the game overall is in a really good state. It's very smooth, it's responsive, and it plays well. But that's the only thing I think that's missing in the game, is sometimes there's just no music in the background. That's my only constructive criticism for the game that I think that really should be added. I would like to see, the game have a lot more skills. I would like to see like complete different skill trees where you get skill points, but I don't think that that's something that they are trying to go for, and that might scare people because it might be too complex, right? And so I totally understand from a mobile game standpoint, they want it to be very casual friendly, and I think that if you're interested in a very casual Diablo experience, or even like basically modified Diablo 3 is what I kind of like calling this game. It's a fun game, it really is, and obviously this is not a sponsored video or anything. I genuinely did have fun with this game, and I could say in terms of how is it, do I recommend it, is it fun to play, I honestly had fun, and I'll reach max level and I'll cover all the content for you guys very soon on the channel. And if there's anything else that you guys wanted to see in this game, definitely let me know. But I didn't really have any game-breaking bugs for the game. And in terms of another question that I had asked, what is the max level? In the alpha, it's 45. We're almost at max level, so I'll give you guys my overall thoughts. And I'll do a more finished review, because this is like my early impressions, day one review of the game. There is apparently going to be PvP of the game, which I'm really excited about, but we'll have to go ahead and wait for that to go ahead and be covered in a separate video as well. And in terms of the file size, it's 3.5 gigabytes. Yeah, that's going to go ahead and basically wrap up all the questions that I had that were more frequent. But if there's anything else, again, let me know in the comment section below if you wanted me to cover it. But overall, I gotta say, I honestly did have fun with it, and it's definitely a game where I will at least cover everything, and maybe we'll make some build guides of it in the future. But anyways, that's going to wrap up the video. But thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed the video, drop a like on it. And if you'd like to see more things in Diablo, and by the way, another important thing is like, how can I access the game? Right now it's in closed alpha. You have to gain access to it by RNG mechanic. You can go ahead and pre-register for the game. But if they do happen to come out with the open beta, I'll let you guys know ASAP. So if you're new here and you want to know as soon as that comes out, I will drop a video saying, hey guys, this is where you go ahead and register it. So if you're new here, again, subscribe, turn that bell, and as soon as that comes out, I'll let you guys know. But anyways, take care guys, have a good one, and I'll catch you in the next video. I'm signing out. Peace.